Hello, this is going to be a CNC video on how to make some QR codes with the CNC router on some thin 90 thou thick fiberglass reinforced plastic. They're going to be making these symbols. These two are identical, but I'm making one for port side and starboard side, 3 inches square, and they will be glued to the side of the boat so that if anybody comes and sees the boat while it's docked, they can snap a photo and it will take them to the website. And this is the QR code up here, or the URL rather, that we're going to change into a QR code. And this is the home channel. 53 videos at the moment. This will be the 54th. And some of the videos, some of the latest ones that have been uploaded. So now that I've got this, right click, copy. I searched for free online code generators, QR code generators, and I come up with Adobe Express. They're reputable, so I say, yeah, free. Okay, generate code now. I'm going to right click in the box right here. Come on. There we are. Paste, and I've pasted the URL. Now I go create code. Okay, new code has shown there. I could choose the color, but I just want for maximum contrast, I want black and white. I can choose file type, I want a JPEG, and I can say download. This says, hey, it's free, but please sign up. I say, I'm in a hurry. I don't really want to sign up, and for this, I can just do control. What I'm doing right now is control print screen, and I'm closing this out. Well, I already have this made, but I'm going to show you what I did. I just went to Paint, Microsoft, and right here, oh, look, I happen to have something sized already for this, but I go paste. Oops. Bear with me here. I'm going to go select, and I'm highlighting what I want to take, and I go crop. Look at what I have. Look at what I have. So I'm going to just go select, just reselect, select all, right click, copy, and now I'm going to go to the resize. Oh, I'm going to delete it right now. Poof, it's empty. But I know that that's the size of the image. I'm going to resize, get rid of the maintain aspect ratio, because what I'm going to do is double it. In fact, I'm going to more than double it. I'm going to 100% horizontal, and I'm going to go 210 vertical. There, now we have this space. I'm going to go paste. Poof, there we go. I'll go paste again. There's a second image right there, and I'm dragging down, and I've got 2 images. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to run the router once with one setup, and I'll generate 2 copies of this. And I leave a little space in between for a saw cut. I'll cut that out. Very good, and then I can file, save as. I've already saved it. I'm not going to resave it, but I already have this. So now you know how I maneuvered to get that. And if you know about QR codes, you already know all that stuff. I'm going to not save. What I often do, or I usually do when I do a router project, I go and I use GIMP, which is like Photoshop, and I generally blur the image. And the reason for that is to get some shading and shadow along the lines and to get some depth contouring. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to leave this as a sharp image because it's going to be a very shallow cut, and I want a sharp image. So I am not doing that. If you want to know more about that, you could watch one of the other, I think I've got 3 or so other videos on CNC router. There's some aspects of setup, and I cover a bit of that elsewhere. So what I am going to do now is generate G-code. That's iPicture software. Okay, this is zoomed in now. I'm going to open a file, open image file. And we're going to open this. You recognize that we generated using Paint. So there it is. The default that came up with based on the sizing of the number of pixels and so on in the Paint program, it comes up 3.1 by 6.8. I have decided what I'm going to do for materials, use this piece of plastic lumber. Okay, I originally was going to use some thin fiberglass material, but it's hard sometimes to clamp thin fiberglass material, and I'm going to work with a thicker material, etch the image onto it, and then I'll run this through a thickness planer and run that down until it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. That's the plan. So based on what this width is here, this is just about 2 and not even quite 2 5/8 maybe wide. I'm going to make this 2 3/8. So I'm going to go 2.38 for the width. As soon as I click outside the box, that will update. Oops, keeps a constant aspect ratio for this. 2.38 by 5.233. Okay, I'll just remember 2 3/8. For depth of cut, I'm going to leave the depth of cut at 0.118, which is roughly 1/8 of an inch. That's just a default that came up. I will be setting the rotor above a certain amount to clear, and I'll probably set it above by a little less than 1/16 of an inch, and then so the result will be about 3/16. Sorry, less than 3/16, 3/32. It'll be less than 1/8 of an inch into the material. I'm not going to invert light and dark. What it means is dark is going to be full depth into here, and that full depth is 0.118. So total blackness is minus 0.118 into the material. Wherever it's white, the router will not dive in. Okay, and of that 0.118, it's only going to go in part way, because I'll have it start from above here, and then it will go in for a total travel of 0.118. Scan step, I'm going to leave it fine. It's 0.007, roughly 0.008 inch. I could just round it to 0.01, but I'm going to leave that. I want a fairly fine cut, just so it's a nice even cut. That's my tip of my tool is a 1/32 radius. It's a tapered tool. My origin position is back in the machine to the left, and that's all correct. So now in real time, we'll click on preview. It's going through. Now it's going. The bigger the image and the finer the feed rate, the scan step, the longer it would take to generate this picture. Yeah, this is camera. Oops. We'll back up a little bit more. Okay, so here we are. This is the image. I can tip it, I can rotate it and look and say, okay, it looks like a rat's maze. So that's good. It looks nice. So I just close that. That's a preview. I'm happy with it. So I will convert. I just click that. This will take a few minutes. It won't take long. It depends on the image size and the feed step. Okay, I'm going to call this HOBO. It's a HOBO houseboat QRL. So it's the QRL that will lead us to the HOBO YouTube channel URL. And it's a G file, GEE. It's basically a text file, and the machine will recognize that. That's where I want to save it, and it's very fast. It saves very quickly because it's just a text file. It doesn't have much room, take much room. I'm going to click on file. Whoops. I'm going to open it. So we end up with a text file, and you can see here this is just many lines. There are, I don't know, I'd have to do a count on that, but there are hundreds of lines. Depending on bigger projects, there are thousands of lines sometimes. It will take 12 hours to execute. This one's going to take about 40 minutes, depending on the speed I choose for the router to run. Something I'm going to do just peculiar to my machine, this is a spindle speed command line. I'm removing it because I have modified my machine and I don't have the original spindle, so it doesn't communicate anymore to the machine. I have to take that out or it will hang up. So I'm going to save this file. And what I'll do, I have to go get the thumb drive. I will save this text file now to the thumb drive, which I'll take out to the machine. So we'll see you shortly at the machine. We're going to take this, set it up, and we're going to remember that we want to set it, the starting position somewhere here in the back left, and we set it up such that we can traverse 2 3/8 inches, and it's going to go boom, 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 and do this many times. Each time it will advance towards the camera. My finger would advance towards the camera 0.007 inch. So let's go do that now. I'm ready to start this project. It's for the boat, sort of, so you're going to see. But what I have to do is insert the memory stick. It has the program on it, and everything's obscured by tape here. This is my shroud here just to keep the dust down. Insert that. It's got the program on it. We'll go around here. What I'll do right here is I got to clean this off. And this is the workpiece here. We're expecting an image 2 3/8 wide by about 5 inches long. We're going to start up in this corner here, a little from the edge. This is about 2 5/8 wide, something like that. So we're going to clamp it up here. And we'll clamp it. 2 clamps will suffice for this, but for insurance, we'll put in this 3rd clamp. That's solid. Yeah, so this machine is an Oliver 1013 and telecarved 1013. It's obsolete. There are some different versions of the machine that made by other manufacturers or sold by other manufacturers that are very similar. This is the smallest one. They call it 1013. Well, it does more than 1013. It does roughly, I forget now, 13 by 18. I've modified it because I put a Bosch trim router in here. Before it had a little, that's a 1 horsepower trim router. It used to have a fractional horsepower spindle that was, it wore out, had poor bearing supports, not very good. So you put this in, and I've gotten up to 90 hours run on one of those. You have to take it apart and either change the brushes, or I've actually completely burnt out and worn out some. There's just manual spindle speed control. That is my switch. After it's running, I put this Allen key in, and it acts as a shut off when it indexes back to its start position at the end of the cycle. That's how I handle that. The program no longer recognizes spindle on or spindle off commands or spindle speed commands. So that is clamped. What we'll do is go around to this side, make sure that's off. There's that's okay. That is on. And we press enter. It's going to home. You can see in the background some motion. The table return to a start position like so. What we're going to do is enter. We're going through a few things on the menu. Workpiece, USB check. Here we're going to go select file, and we've got a few different things here. I saw that weak. I don't know what those are. I can't remember those. HOBO QRL. That's the one we want. Enter. And we're going to go to manual jog mode, and I'm going to now, whatever right now the origin is set at where it's at with the spindle up high away from the work. What we're going to do is I'm going to use these X plus, X, Y, Z plus, and X, Y, Z minus, and we're going to position the spindle. So I will be pressing these to move it. You're going to see some stuff here. We're going to bring the spindle down, Z minus. I'm just bringing it down into view. I'm not bringing it all the way. I'm going to push this table forward. So we'll go Y minus. getting the approximate starting spot. I need the work that's going to be here in these 5 inches or so, and 2 3/8 wide. Spindle is coming down further. Yeah, there we go. So a little under 1/16 of an inch. Now we're going to go 2 3/8 width. I'm going to move the spindle over that way in the X direction. We're going to go X minus. Right there is to the stop. I'm going to get away from the stop. And I'm going to check here, 2 3/8. That's going to be, actually I changed my mind slightly. There we go. And right now 5 inches. This thing is ready to 0. So enter to set org. You see we moved from the original 0, the default 0, we've moved. We're going to go enter. That is our new 0. That's our starting point for the program. We're just going to go back. Now we can do a thing called process. We go enter. Whoops. Enter. Now I'm going to go high speed because we're not going very deep. Okay. Before I press enter to start the program, I am going to start the spindle. You can see all the movements that it's making. Let us check to see that it's working as expected. We went over that far, we didn't hit a clamp. I was pretty confident we weren't going to hit a clamp, but there we are. It's dancing up and down, going left and right. It's sort of a scanning mode is the way it works. We'll let this sit and we'll see how long it takes to carve out our QR code. The noise has stopped after 52 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's see what the result is. Okay, spindle shut itself off. And there we go. Now, you look here, it's just a bunch of fuzz here. This can be rubbed off. Let's take it to the bench and see what we can do with this. Notice all the burrs. I've taken out a lot of the burrs with brass brush, and I attempted a little bit with to get the burrs out of the pixelations, but that's really not essential because I'm not done with this yet. I'm going to mill off this in the surface planer and mill it down so that it's not quite so deep. I don't want so much relief yet, and you'll see more on this in the next step. Okay, it's just about a little over 1/16 of an inch deep. That's the way I want it. Now, for the next step, we need to develop some, make some contrast. That about does it for this can. Just enough, I think. That's it, and I think it was just enough. Okay, let's let that dry. Then we're going to put it through the planer one more time for a light kiss. So we'll let it dry for an hour or so. I'll put it out in the sun. Maybe that'll accelerate it. Okay, the paint is dry. We'll try and take a light skim off this, and it will reveal the code that's been etched into here. Cleaned up nicely. There's just the slightest of relief here, and it's filled in with paint. I cleaned up the side here on the planer, cleaned up the side there. Now, what I want to do is reduce this thickness to about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to take off this side many passes and get this thin. So it's just a very thin plaque, which I will then cut out and apply to the boat. Okay, here's the completed project. I thinned them out a little farther on the planer. I kissed off the top to clean up excess paint, so it just leaves the infill. And I cut them out on the table saw. And the last thing I did was put a clear spray finish of an exterior varnish on. Actually a lacquer, a clear exterior lacquer. So these will go on port and starboard sides of the Erie HOBO houseboat, and anyone who's curious about the boat itself and the refurbishment of it, or travels and exciting adventures, can just take a picture of that QR code. Okay, thanks for watching then.